Welcome to Retirement Ramblings. I'm Scott, and today is day 184 on my countdown to retirement. So this morning, I downloaded our end of June numbers from our brokerage and 401k provider before the market opened for the day, so that we wouldn't have any of the numbers from July start to roll into our numbers. I sent those to my wife to put into our monthly net worth report, along with a variety of other numbers. And then on the last day of the month, we reached a new high for the year. So we're now up 6.03% for our portfolio as of the end of June. So that's good. And then once I pulled the numbers down, I had an early morning meeting. And once that was finished, I made a pound of bacon in the oven. And then I had a couple of over medium eggs and 4 pieces of bacon for breakfast. My wife had some of the bacon, and then I saved the remainder of the bacon for use later on. But when I make the eggs, I used 1 pasture-raised egg, and I used 1 regular egg because that's what I had left at that point. So when you look at the picture, let me know if you can tell which one is which. I bet you can. And then I watched a portion of the halftime report on CNBC with Scott Wapner at noon, and I was happy also to see that the Dow Jones was rallying for the day. It was up, like at that time, about 500 points, so it was having a good day. And then during the show, they broke in to say that the Senate had passed the big, beautiful bill, and that Vice President J.D. Vance had to basically put the tie-breaking vote in because it was 50-50 in the Senate, and then he broke the tie, 51-50. But just prior to passing, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer struck the name off of President Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill by arguing that the title of the bill violated Section 313B1A of the Congressional Budget Act of 1974, that's known as the Byrd Rule. So fundamentally, so it was agreed to, so they struck the name, and now it's just called the Act. So if you hear anything on television or whatever, when people are referring to it, you're not going to hear them probably refer to it any longer as the big, beautiful bill. They're going to make up some name like the mega bill or some other thing that is not really the name of the bill. Now that it's over at the House, and they're going to look at whatever they got to do tomorrow to see if they can advance it. But I just thought it was funny that that they wanted to strike the name from the bill because, especially on the Democratic side, they did not believe that it's anything beautiful about the bill. So again, it was just an interesting. It was an interesting point of order. I didn't know that they could do that. And so when I was listening to them, I thought it was, like I said, pretty interesting development. And then for lunch, I made chicken salad using the leftover baked chicken that I had from the other night and 2 pieces of the bacon that I chopped up from this morning, mixed that together with some mayonnaise, and that became my lunch. And then my wife went shopping with her sister, and while she was out, they decided they were going to stop at Sam's Club. So she called me to see whether I wanted anything there. I asked her if they had, since we no longer belong to Sam's, if they had the 18 pastured eggs in stock. I'd take that if they had them. So she went and checked, and in fact, they did have them, and they even lowered the price down from $6.22 for 18 down to $5.94, which works out to be $3.96 a dozen for pasture-raised eggs. That's pretty awesome, actually. So she picked up 1 container for me because I still had 1 container in our outside fridge, so that worked out good. Then I set up my GeoBlue Trekker Choice International Health Insurance app on my phone, along with the Global Telemed associated app on my phone. And then I set up all the international locations that we're going to. So should I need to use the insurance while we're away, I can easily flip between all the locations that are now stored within the app that we're going to be visiting to find a doctor, hospital, or any other support that I need from an insurance perspective while we're overseas. So I wanted to make sure I got that done. And then my wife did end up, after she got home from shopping, updating our monthly net worth report. And she also sent me our year-to-date expenses with breakouts by month. And I plan to incorporate all that data into Bolden, but I didn't do it today. I need to be able to sit down and spend a block of hours. It's probably like 3 hours of really concentrated time to make sure that all the numbers line up the way that they should. And then, as I indicated, once I get this month's in there, then I'm going to set up a coaching session with somebody at Bolden to take a look and review my plan to make sure that I've got everything in the tool correctly and that it's basically processing properly. And then once that happens, I'll set up a review with 2 CFPs and just make sure that everything is aligned, so I have a high degree of confidence that when I stop working at the end of the year, which is happening no matter what, because my job is going away. So one way or another, I'm not going to be working after the end of the year, at least at the company I'm working for now. So hopefully everything works out in the way my plan is structured. And then for dinner, I ended up making sauteed scallops and air fryer chicken wings. So I had scallops in Kirkland grass-fed butter along with salt, and then I ate all the drumettes within the chicken package that we had with a little Frank's hot sauce on top. My wife prefers flats, so she got all the flats along with some celery and ranch dressing and some heated up barbecue sauce. Total amount of chicken in the package was 2.5 pounds, so I don't really know how much chicken I ate after discounting the weight of the bones and stuff, but I want to say I had 8 drumettes in addition to a dozen scallops. And I know the scallops were 1 pound before cooking. So that was my dinner. And then I started researching credit cards to be able to have my wife get a credit card with a credit limit equal to or greater than the one I have, where I'm the primary on the card and she's the secondary. I want her to be the primary on a card with me being the secondary. In the event that I predecease her, I want her to be able to have a full line of credit without having any issue because of having to wait to submit a death certificate, or because I was the primary, she no longer has access to the card. And my mom had to go through that with my dad because he was the primary on the card. And then when he passed, it became a freaking nightmare to be able to get all the things transferred over and get her the appropriate credit that she needed while we were, also running through making sure that all the accounts that are transfer on death and joint accounts, right of survivorship and stuff were moved over appropriately. That still takes some amount of time. It's not an instant thing. And like I said, you need to have a death certificate to provide to the banks and other financial institutions for them to be able to make changes, and that takes days. So at the very least, I want to make sure that she has credit that she can use, like I said, if I predecease her. And anyway, that's my update for today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below, or drop me an email at myretirementramblings@gmail.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great evening, and until tomorrow, take care.